Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. Habati fillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A question was asked, if a person cannot make up their fast or pay the kafara debt to feed the poor, and I am assuming they mean under the circumstances of the person who is responsible for the kafara of having committed sexual intercourse during the day of Ramadan, akramakumullah. So if they're unable to pay the kafara to feed the poor, or fast shahrain mutatabi'in, meaning 2 consecutive months, does this mean on the day of judgment that person will fall off the bridge of the Sirat into the hellfire? So, as the questioner mentioned, that it seems to me they're talking about someone who is ajiz, someone who doesn't have the ability. So if someone does not have the ability, fattaqullah mastata'tum, fear Allah as much as you're able to do. So if a person truly cannot fast the 2 months for some reason, and they've tried, unless they're truly ajiz, meaning they cannot fast, or they suffer from certain illnesses that don't allow that extent of fasting, or they've actually tried and they failed, then then the next aspect of kafara in the situation is that they pay 60 to feed 60 poor persons. And if they are that poor, indebted, meaning they cannot do it, perhaps Allah will open up that for them at a later time. So these things are not permanent. I don't understand how the person is looking at things in such with so much permanency, that a rizq can be increased. And for example, if a person is fallen into this and they're at a certain financial level at this stage in their career or at this stage in life, perhaps in a year, perhaps in a couple of years, they'll have a better situation, or they will be able to work 2 jobs, or whatever the case may be, to where they're able to pay that kafara, which is not that much in the scale of things. Feeding 60 poor persons is not much, considering we live in societies where we go into debt and we buy houses and we buy cars. Yes, sometimes by ribas, sometimes not. And so I think having that amount of money to be able to save for is not a severe difficulty and hardship for most people for example, in most of our Western countries, especially the United States, where there are a variety of different economic solutions, meaning the economy, there's generally ways to make other jobs or move to a place where you can get a better job or start a business. You have many more options in America than you probably have in the rest of the world. So this, I don't think the questioner should look at things with such a permanency. Fear Allah as much as you can. Strive your best to pay, even if you're unable to fulfill that obligation that you are in the process of. You're feeding 1 poor this time and 1 poor this time, or you're paying your kafara overseas, and you can feed a lot of people in Palestine and in Yemen because of the level of poverty and the difference in economic status. You can fulfill that obligation much easier than you can, for example, in America or some Western country. So there's a variety of options that a person can look at, and the point is to try as much as one is able to do, and one's situation is probably not permanent. Ittaqullah, fattaqullah mastata'tum. Fear Allah as much as you're able. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.